Welcome back. Time to look at the front pages. We do have public affairs analyst, the one who talks very tough, and you could call him the seer because he predicts the future of every single thing that happens. We do have joining us Mr. Theophilus Akatugba.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome.
Nice to have you.
Welcome. Good to have you.
Good to have you.
Good to have you. And we'll be looking at some of the very interesting newspaper front pages. But before we go to the front pages, let's connect with our man Joshua Imarayi, who is somewhere and a place that would interest you because he has updates to give to us. So we're going to connect straight to Joshua. Good morning to you, Joshua.
Good morning to you, the breakfast. I am here live at the Federal High Court in Abuja, where in no short moment the trial of Nnamdi Kanu resumes. But before that, let me give you a roundup of what happened in court yesterday. Senator Natasha Akatugba in person appeared in court. This is the first time she's appearing since the suit was instituted at the Federal High Court. Of course, you know Senator Natasha Akatugba is challenging the suspension from the Nigerian Senate. Well, she sued the Nigerian Senate, and parties to this suit are the clerk of the National Assembly.
Okay, you seem to have lost the connection to Joshua. Joshua, are you there? Oh, we hope to connect to Joshua Imarayi. He's live at he's making a clear report from Nnamdi Kanu's case there, and he's also telling us what happened and what's going to take place concerning Senator Natasha Akatugba's case, which also was yesterday. It's been adjourned to June 27th, by the way. That's another case. And by the way, the presidency also has another case. So it's like we're looking at three very important
What's
cases.
the presidency's case?
You have that of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu dealing with the PDP, who are taking into court.
The governors.
Yes, the governors.
For state of emergency.
That it's not constitutionally right for him to do so. Yesterday, the court were expecting that they would come forth to also present their case, but they weren't there. Surprisingly, the Sole Administrator sent his representative. But then again, that case was adjourned. They gave them up until, I think, May 18th or so, and said it will no longer be moved. So that's case number one. We have Senator Natasha versus the Senate President. That's another big case number two to look into. So I think the judiciary is busy. And then you now have the other one, of course, which our reporter was talking to us from, which is that of Nnamdi Kanu. But we'll come back to that. Let's go to the front pages of the papers right now. The Punch newspaper is the very first one we're going to look at. JAM VCs to review UTME results. I'm not going to waste time. Let's just go straight to that story without further ado. I'm sure you may have been tired of listening to the reports. Parents not happy, videos of parents. All they've had to do which were Nigeria yesterday, looking at what Nigerians are saying.
And I also had to do.
And you did which were Nigeria today. And then a representative from JAM saying it's due to Yahoo cultism. That's why they failed.
TikTok.
The stories flying around and the way people are reacting. And by the way, you can also call in and let us know what you think. What's your thought, first of all?
Well, I saw it which way Nigeria. If we implement what's recommended there, we'll get nowhere. We must put the blame where it belongs. Every one of us, we are guilty, we are responsible for what we get. Examination is a mirror. They reflect back to the people their true state. All these conditions that we have listed that could have, been responsible for this, they have always been present. And we have had very good grades. So Nigeria has not prepared for the future it's looking for. Nigeria is not on the road to that great expectation. When we get the result we deserve, we start complaining, we start throwing blames.
No, so this one is a different case.
I get the point. No, those technical, they are not enough to give us what. It's just, you see, at this stage, we must be very, very sober. We've seen this situation in Liberia before, where the entire country failed, and no one got the grades. Not one. So Nigeria is on the road surely to that destination, unless we arrest it.
In 2023, when we complained about technical glitches in elections, did you think that
see, glitches are common in anything technology. It happens all, even the whole world. Airports, you see flights cancelled all over because of these are.
But there are implications.
I get your
life
point.
implications.
What I'm saying, if you focus too much on that, you will not get the message. We have problem with youth development. Learning processes are faulty. Curriculum outdated. Economic challenges present. People are not well educated. Our primary schools are not developing our young ones with the right foundation. Nigerians think that education is about spending big money in schools. We have a faulty educational program that is not being implemented properly. States, our investment in basic education, no one is asking questions. Monies are diverted. Primary schools are not funded. We have a problem.
How many new primary schools are even established?
In fact, even the ones we have are not properly funded because the monies go to state government and local government. We don't talk. Primary education belongs to the local government. What's the quality we have there?
All right, Mr. Akatugba, two truths can coexist. And whilst many people, even the practitioners in the education sector, agree with a number of things you said, that we need a total overhaul, we need accountability, we need to check the budgets and where these monies go. Alex Onia, the CEO of Educare, has been at the forefront of championing the cause of these students. The complaints of those who would say a number of the questions were not questions, they were just answers. I mean, JAMB has mandated that it's a computer-based technology assessment that they use, so there is no writing with pen and paper. A number of the schools don't even have access to computers during their training, so now they are made to be assessed by something that they're not used to.
Thought they were good with computers.
Isn't that exactly? So isn't that unfair to the students? They're not given a fair fighting chance.
Well, if you say that is one reason, then we will look at what impact that had on this, and they're going to review it, and they will come out with what is the extent. It's a disgrace that we went CBT and our parents did not prepare the children for CBT, because when you were filling the form, you already knew what you were going to write.
But is it the parents?
The parents of the school?
No, parents are the biggest culprit in Nigeria. Parents. Parenting is in decline. We have a society where parents are in combat with teachers for any measure of discipline. We have a society where we have implemented Western ideas in capital punishment and said children should not be tampered with. We have a situation where learning and school is described as a scam, and there is no more encouragement for education. We have a situation where our young ones are in search of money at an early age, and no one is arresting the situation. We have a situation where you train your children to be Western pro, not local, not finding solutions to our challenges. Our situation is dire. This exam is a wake-up call.
So in talking about it being a wake-up call, what are the processes that needs to be taken? I mean,
it's so broad. You see, first, the people that are in primary school are not qualified to be there.
Absolutely.
Yes, no, they are not even qualified age-wise.
Absolutely.
So there's too much pressure on a young brain that's supposed to develop and mature.
Oh, they go into primary school too early.
Yes, too early. Even from private schools and all of that.
I agree with you on that.
And so the psychomotor, that's why Ghana consistently for 7 years was at the top of WAEC, and Nigerian children look like kids because Ghanaians go to that exam matured and ready. Okay. So every time you go to Ghana, the basic education from JSS to SS is like our jam to university. By the time those children pass through that BECE and get into secondary school, they are so ready to confront WAEC.
Or even move on to other things in life.
And you see that they can even start working in
proper citizens.
And they can interact politically, and they have a matured mind. So the Nigerian kids haven't been exposed to too much pressure. He's not been developed properly. Those who run WAEC, the psychomotive, developmental pattern of Nigeria is
camp that can't fill their forms properly.
Yeah, I mean, even the banks, you go to the banks, someone doesn't know how to feed them. They don't know how to decide.
And you ask them, I'm graduate.
Slip.
I'm graduate. They can't even write proper sentences. They can't write properly, even in local languages. Any of that. So you see, have interaction with our people. Just say you want to employ and see the
employers of labor are complaining that look, they're not in the business of training and retraining. Do you know how many CVs they have to track?
And investors are saying,
I beg to differ slightly. Okay, and how I would differ would be, whilst I do recognize that our education sector has a myriad of challenges, we've seen that Nigerians who have studied, schooled in Nigeria, have left this country to the shores of the other country, and they've excelled. They've dominated, the other country. So there are people who have gone to school here, gone through the system here, and they're doing excellently. They get opportunities.
We've not said there are no exceptions. You see, if in every situation you have geniuses, you have brilliant ones. If you look at the quality of education of India, when they tell you and describe to you the rigors and what you take to get through, that's why the Indians control the world.
Absolutely.
They control industries globally because they have gone through a training process that we are even jokers. One Indian guy said when they see other people, they go to Spain, the Indians excel because of the process.
Even in Canada.
Our educational system is not, in fact, it's too laborious. The curricula does not have any response to our current needs. We have a big problem.
I agree with you on that.
In fact, overcrowded classrooms, demotivated teachers. Are you serious?
And
it's
students not willing to learn, but
they're not willing to learn because the end game is that those who have finished, we didn't prepare enough for those who have finished schools. They are unemployed, they are frustrated. What is the motivation for parents to even invest in education when the outcome, the end game, is to become like someone who is searching for jobs that are not available? You can't have so many universities and not have commensurate industries to absorb them.
I mean, so just to wrap this up before, I allow, Oliver and Benga to go to the next page or same paper and check other stories. What we're saying, can we all agree that it is not just on the parents? I mean, just like Benga is addressed, it's on everybody's table.
There are many aspects, but parenting can play a great role. Why? Don't rush your children into school. Scientifically has a negative effect.
Japan, China.
Yes, sometimes they even demand for double promotion to escape fees. They think that once you do that, the child is no. Even if it's brilliant, let the child pass through the stages. Parents are there. The parents are also involved in miracle center, reliance on miracle centers,
special center.
Magic center, so that they can prepare their children. You see the way they run around the jam center. You see they are looking for opportunities. They are outside the hall looking for opportunities. 570,000 people did not show up in this exam. Why? Because many of them could have registered, fronters. And when the check becomes tougher, you see many.
Yeah.
When NIM was introduced the first time, 500,000 people did not show up for JAM.
But you know what's interesting? Yesterday when I was taking what Nigerians are saying, one of the tweets we took was somebody detailing how they knew a friend or a family member who did not register for JAM but was given 315 as his score. To show you that we cannot trust correctness.
I like to always, JAM is saying to you, people said they had centers that they did not, but when you are feeling a computer, a lot of people are not computer literate. They use the phone, they think, I've seen graduates tell me I'm computer literate. You employ them into the office and the first thing is, okay, go open Microsoft Word. They don't know where it is to open. But this is somebody who claimed to become and listed those softwares as part of the software.
WhatsApp literate.
WhatsApp, yeah. Anyway, Joshua is back online. Let's go back to Joshua Marayi. Joshua, go back to where you started from, which is you were telling us what happened yesterday, and then of course what happened, what's going to happen today. So the ball is in your court. Go ahead, please.
So starting from where I stopped, what is going to happen today is that Nnamdi Kanu is back in court for his trial. We are expecting the council representing the federal government to bring forth more witnesses to substantiate their claim on Kanu's alleged terrorism charges. But now back to yesterday and Senator Natasha's case. Yesterday, Senator Natasha was live in court in flesh and blood for the first time since the suit was initiated at the Federal High Court in Abuja. Moving forward, earlier the judge and the parties involved agreed that yesterday was just going to be the adoption of processes to the case. And as she said, it went on like that. However, I must take you through the fact that one of the prayers of the council representing Senator Natasha is that the court should discountenance the claim made by the defendant. In this case, the defendant is, first of all, the first defendant is the clerk of the National Assembly. The second defendant is the Senate. The third defendant is the Senate President. And the fourth defendant is the chairman of Ethics Committee on at the National Assembly. That's the president of St. Oleda and Maxwell. Well, they prayed the court to discountenance the arguments of the defendant, saying that it was an internal crisis, and as such, the court lacks jurisdiction to adjudicate on the matter. They also put forward affidavit of evidence showing cause while the court should penalize Senator Natasha, relying on the earlier Facebook post she made. They brought that as evidence too in court to say that that she went against the court order, saying that there should be no social media publication or any address to the press. That she went against that order. Now, on the part of the defendants, on the part of the plaintiff, that is Senator Natasha, through her counsel, the counsel prayed the court that the court should render the decision of the Senate Ethics Committee and the Senate null and void, saying that it was as a result of premeditation that she was suspended from the Senate. They also went further to pray the court to find in contempt the National Assembly. Why is this happening? You recall that Senator Natasha instituted a suit at the Federal High Court sometime in March, that is 3rd March precisely, where she prayed the court to bar the National Assembly from taking any disciplinary action against her. However, 2 days after, the Senate committee sat and they suspended her for 6 months. Now they are back in court saying that, praying the court to find them and hold them in contempt and to initiate disciplinary action against them. Why? Because based on that interim injunction, as granted by Justice Obiola Igwatu earlier before he was refused from the case, he made an injunction that no further disciplinary action should be taken against Senator Natasha. Unfortunately, they went ahead to make that action and they suspended her. So she's back in court challenging them that a court has given an order. They have no legal standing or moral standing to go ahead with the suspension. That is where we are in the case. And Justice Vinta Inyako, in her wisdom, said she was going to address the issue of contempt before moving to the suit. That is, she's going to attend to the issue of contempt on the side of Senator Natasha, that is praying the court to find the Senate guilty, and on the side of the defendant, as the clerk of the National Assembly, the Senate, the president of the Senate, and the chairman of the Ethics Committee, that she went ahead to make publications on social media when the case is in court. So these are the arguments. She further said that she will have to trash the contempt suit before going further to the substantive suit. That's the originating summons that Senator Natasha brought to the court. That is where we are. And the court adjourned to June 27th for ruling on both the contempt suit and the case improper.
Very, very insightful there. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much for bringing us a holistic update on what's happening, and we look forward to connecting with you again when we come back tomorrow. I'm sure subsequent shows will have you join them. Do stay well. All right, let's now come back to the studio here to look at some of the stories on the front pages of this paper. This time we're looking at the Nigerian Tribune. On the front page of the Nigerian Tribune newspaper this morning, PDP senators dropped to 30 as Aliero, 2 other KB senators join APC. We also have Tinubu Jonathan Akpabio, Delta Governor, orders Honor Edwin Clark. Osho Assembly endorses Adeleke for 2nd term. Food security, federal government rates Ekiti high in agricultural investment. Reps reject bill on rotational presidency among 6 geopolitical zones. June 12, Lamido urges Tinubu to settle 45 billion naira owed Abiola family. Court sentences man to death for killing friend over cap. Ayeleo. PDP affirms Koshuedo as acting national secretary. And finally, Senate worries over resurgence of Boko Haram in Borno, Yobe, killing of 12 soldiers, and calls for swift military actions. I think we started with the story. PDP senators dropped to 30. It's a wave of defections. Defection season is upon us.
The entire Kebbi State Senate
Political transfer window.
You know, I'm very sympathetic with such a political party that had such heights and is descending so rapidly. And they are not able to arrest it.
If you look at the waves of this wave of defections, I'm trying to trace
it started long ago. Even the Boris started earlier. You know, what is happening to the party is quite unfortunate, and more unfortunate for the fact that a lot of Nigerians that thought that there could be a viable alternative to the agitation to replace the Tinubu government.
Or for better government.
Not to, that hope is fading very fast, and to their very big disappointment. And that is what I'm saying, not even about the politicians, because the politicians are sorted. They will go to the other part. It's actually the electorate and the public, those who are sympathetic to PDP, who have invested their supports on the PDP over the years, and they have even recognized and regarded the party as their party, are fatally disappointed and broken by this development. And up till now, the party has not been able to even identify if there was a recommend. Somebody was in Anambra State election. There's somebody, they wrote a letter to INEC, and you can see those people who signed for the person is contestable. The person who has signed as secretary is different from the one the Supreme Court has affirmed. Is that not problem for that candidate itself? So that candidacy is already troubled. Because anybody can go to court and say the people that submitted his name are not the right people. And that is exactly why you see the Oboewo is they look at the party, who is the leader. And the caller Ologbodinyo has been talking much more, talking everywhere. Where is the spokesperson of the party? Why is the PDP current spokesman not popular?
We spoke to him this morning.
Caller is the one speaking.
But he was former.
And he's former.
He's former.
And he's one breasting going forward to speak. I mean, talking more about the party, encouraging people.
Former Benue governor, Gabriel
This one, he nailed it completely.
He said the PDP is in ICU.
Absolutely.
It's in terminal decline. It may die soon.
No, he even said if Saraki's attempt do not work, that is the end. And he said from the way he spoke soberly and truthfully, that's the picture. And
but you believe in Saraki's intervention?
No, he doesn't have the kind of influence that can put they have lost a lot.
I mean, he's a former senator.
No. He's been very quiet behind the scene. He's not been very active. And also he has been in the APC. We need a proper PDP man.
Like
who has always been PDP.
Like
yeah, but now he's already gone. He's even interested in, so long as they are still flirting with Atiku, they still keep Atiku as a possible candidate.
Does it mean that because the FCT minister is working with the APC, does that stop him?
No, the man you must give it to Wike. He's been very passionate about that party. But in life, he has to weigh his options, and he was given a deal. He has been very forthright. He tells you, I fight my truth. What I want is what I go for. And he has been very, in fact, I see him as one of the most successful Nigerian politicians now. Somebody really, I'm not very enamored about him. But I'm beginning to see how come this guy is winning. How come he says it and he works? How come? And these people just allow him have a field day, become such a great figure today in Nigeria. PDP promoted him, nurtured him, and gave him the platform.
I mean, he's passionate because he's also protecting his investment. He has committed a lot of resources to the People's Democratic Party.
No one will blame him, and that's what all politicians do. Now you see, a lot more people will go because the party is not just able to get it right, and it's painful that they keep going in the wrong direction.
So now they've all moved to the APC. There are those who suggest that the APC will in time implode because it will not be able to contain all the multiple ideologies coming together. Because that's not what I think.
Overload.
Yes, that is true.
Do you agree with that?
Well, I don't agree, but it's possible. Why is it possible? Nigerians are always going to find options. Now it's convenient, tomorrow it might not be.
And it's popular.
But you see, there was a time in this country where PDP took the entire country and left a very small portion. So
I mean,
and Nigeria still came out of
only one
Southwest, only one governor. Out of all the people,
we've seen more than this.
So I don't see where they will always disagree, and people after this, even if before the election, people might feel aggrieved and move to another smaller party if they believe they want the ticket and the ticket is not given to them.
So it means that when the ice breaks and you don't see that your tickets are not coming to you, clear, then the eyes will clear.
Yeah.
Then you have to realize.
The only good thing I see, let me tell you, there is a certain culture in the APC that the PDP didn't have. You know, the PDP was so powerful that he who holds the treasury became a leader and controller. Now, the APC appear to know how to keep their aggrieved quiet by being generous. I don't think PDP was not that generous to those who were aggrieved. You know, PDP had a way of telling them that if you leave, you have nowhere to go. Like a church that feels that it has the right doctrine and prides itself that even if you leave us, you still come back. That kind of attitude, PDP need to change from it and take it serious. When Peter Obi was leaving them, they did not make effort to get him back. That showed that they didn't have that kind of...
And he came back to haunt them.
No, and he went away, and they thought that his popularity... They didn't even make any attempt to go to him and say, well, come. They don't have that humility. They need it to succeed. They need it. Kwankwaso was leaving. They watched him. They knew his history. Kanu. They still left him. They let him go.
They are proud.
So they are very proud. They need to be humble.
And then there are rumors that Kwankwaso is heading to APC as well.
There's a story I need us to touch on the front page of the Vanguard as a matter of urgent national importance. Kudos to the guys of the Vanguard for doing this special report. How lives get wasted daily on Nigeria's highways of horror. And it's a tragedy, and these are avoidable deaths. Horrible federal roads in Cross River, over 150 persons burned to death, 100 vehicles wrecked in rivers, north highways of frequent disasters and death, lamentations in southwest, federal roads of frequent auto crashes in southeast. Federal government is doing its best to fix road infrastructure. Minister Dave Umahi. Is it that the problems are too, Umahi can only do certain things at a certain time. We can't commit our entire resources as a country into fixing roads, but what can be done in the interim? They're avoidable. Like, how do you have motor parks that sell alcohol? You don't have rest and recreation on the way. Nobody checks on this driver's state of mind before they give them articulated vehicles to. These are low-hanging fruits you can deal with before talking about fixing the roads. And was it necessary to do that Lagos-Calabar superhighway when you have federal roads that are begging for attention?
There are, if you want to look at the negatives, you won't end the conversations, because in the country where over the years our road infrastructure has been so much neglected, and we rely on it 100% to move goods and goods and persons. That tells you that the roads are susceptible to damage anytime, no matter the much investment. If everything is moving by road, that's going to be very difficult. And then when you look at the coastal road, I see it as a very huge intervention, because if you want to fix the Lagos-Ibadan, Lagos-Benin-Ore road, and you don't have an alternative, the gruesome pain and suffering people will go through to even fix one part of it is horrendous. If you want to fix any road, so I think if we can get the coastal roads, then we can come in there and refix all these roads. There must be an alternative, something that can take the traffic away, and then you take time, because all the time we've been trying to fix Lagos-Ibadan. Anytime that road, look at what happened between Lagos-Ibadan, the suffering until those roads were completed. The sufferings.
But the road is super now.
Super now. Yeah. And now what I'm saying is, government need to keep investing. The investment is just it's very difficult to find funding. Umar is working hard, but not enough to immediately resolve the deficit. The deficit is big. Now, if the roads are so bad, how come we have crashes? Is it because people don't know that the roads are bad and they run into the difficult part? Driver development is also a very big issue. People who take all kinds of substances are on the highway. Can't you see the Otedola Bridge becomes so difficult for a driver who is unstable? Because you need to be stable to manage that maneuver, the way the slope and all of that. But every time they fall there. So we need to do a lot in these articulated trucks. They need to retrain those drivers. They need to find out if those people are fit to even sit on the driving wheel. We see vehicles without any sign, no lights on the tail end of the police cars, and these vehicles go through the road, and we have road safety that are disturbing smaller vehicles. It's unbelievable.
It has been my biggest concern.
How would such a truck even be allowed to move an inch?
How much is a bulb? You would stop private vehicles and say park, and in front of you would see trucks that are not roadworthy, and you allow them and you say, don't worry, go you.
So your biggest story in Nigeria.
I said to you that each time we are dealing with a problem in Nigeria, I know the politicians will play their politics with the problem. The citizens must focus on the solution.
Right.
Because from year to year, politicians will always
find what there are controllers in charge of this. Most matching order come from President Tinubu as it should be matching order for. Why are people not just doing their jobs?
The biggest problem is that every situation in Nigeria is politicized, ethnicized, religiousized. The moment you start taking firm action. You say a lot of these trucks are to the north. You are disturbing the northern driver.
And if you speak too much, you will be ostracized.
Yes. Wow. So it's very difficult. If you look at that woman at the Ministry of Women Affairs, she was removed because she was fighting in a manner that didn't please politics.
Yeah.
So you think that was
Minister
Okay, you know what? Let's quickly move on from that because we have like 1 minute to wrap up. And I really want you to talk about this as quickly as you can. June 12 elections 1993. Sule Lamido believes that President Tinubu should pay the family of MKO Abiola 45 billion naira debt owed to MKO Abiola, and that doing that will settle the June 12 problem.
45
good call,
but that's a huge amount.
It's a big call, good call, but a trap. So the president must be careful.
Why do you say it's a trap?
What's the money
He's
for?
From the same ethnic group. He was one of those. He was party to it. So if he does it, they will think he's part of his what do you call that thing? No, we cannot. 45 billion is chicken feed. It's not something the government will lose a sleep over. But this is a matter that must be handled carefully by the president. If there is a consensus for that, if there is actually a debt, the country must be
I mean,
willing
they're saying that IBB had agreed. Sule Lamido is saying that he spoke to IBB and that...
Who's IBB?
Is IBB in charge of our coffers?
Well, that's, you know, in the writing of his book, you know, after he presented the book, that he spoke to him about it, that can you confirm that Nigeria was actually owing him?
But that, if it's Nigeria is owing the press, either a human being or an institution, should be in our books.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that Abacha is owing you, and those that were close to Abacha.
It's not a private debt. So it's not Babangida that should confirm.
It's part of our annual budget.
It's something, it's supposed to be reflected in the books that there's a debt to S company or an individual.
Because they just paid the Sukuk, money. Nigeria is free now.
She used it to buy proper computers.
Okay, Sukuk has been cleared.
Yes, it has been cleared.
So I think Tinubu should see it. It's a good call, but it must pass through the right processes. If there is indeed a debt, the country should pay that debt and every other debt around that same period that have not been paid.
Exactly.
And also the Super Eagles money they've been promising there since 1994.
It's better you clear.
One thing that's painful is that if a president issues a statement, it's supposed to be the God law. Institutions in this country are not following up enough to give our president credibility. Buhari had to make a pronouncement in 1994, or some years back, 1980 something, and it was only given when Buhari came back to power 30 years after.
I'm sure that if we check all the gain we've made from declaration that subsidy is gone, we should be able to offset this. But
your governors have the money.
Thank you so much, Mr. Akatugba, for joining us.